that lumbering shape of the Fairey Swordfish. Just under 2,400 of these built. 3-seat torpedo bomber. So you will see somebody in the observer's position waving, so give them a wave back, especially from the slipstream section.
So that person sitting in the back seat is Sub-Lieutenant Hugo Connolly, and today he was talking last night about the pressure of waving in, because he's fully in the slipstream and the wash of the propeller, and he said it's really hard work. So if you see an arm waving enthusiastically, that is Hugo on his 28th birthday flying this beautiful biplane. Now my heart always belongs to a biplane, Pete, and this is a gorgeously huge example. And you can very clearly see why it's called the string bag, with all those wires between the wings.
It was originally named, believe it or not, the TSR-1, Torpedo Spotter Reconnaissance 1. Slightly different from the multi-supersonic TSR-2 that the program was cancelled. But what an effective aircraft. If you look under the fuselage, you can see that torpedo. Dummy, obviously, in this case, but that was the same size as the torpedo fitted to these aircraft for all sorts of operations. By 1939, 13 Royal Navy Fleet Air Arm squadrons had been equipped, but eventually they went into 20 squadrons service. These were responsible for the very first air torpedo attack in naval history. It immobilised the French Navy battlecruiser Dunkirk in Mers El Kebir harbour near Oran in Algeria. And for an obsolete aircraft, the firsts kept on coming. Particularly November 1940, 21 Swordfish of 4 different squadrons operating from HMS Illustrious attacked the Italian Navy squadron anchored at Taranto, and it crippled the Italian fleet. 2 battleships were severely damaged, 2 were underwater, 1 cruiser, 2 destroyers hit, plus 2 auxiliary vessels were destroyed. An incredible attack showing just unbelievable bravery. And as a result of that attack, the Japanese Navy sent representatives to see the area and see what damage had been inflicted, and that helped to formulate the attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941. March 1941, they were also involved in the attack in the Battle of Cape Matapan, which disabled the Italian cruiser Polar. And the Greek campaign, Swordfish, flying from Cyprus, attacked shipping and other Vichy French targets in Syria. Very, very versatile aircraft.
One of the other roles the Swordfish played was in the conflict of the protection of Atlantic and Arctic convoys. And I was very privileged, incredibly privileged actually, to meet a 100-year-old veteran a couple of years ago whose job was exactly what Hugo is doing today, as that rear observer in the Swordfish, flying incredibly high in those extreme cold temperatures, protecting the convoys, but also they were keeping an eye out for submarines. And he said it was really interesting how clearly they could see the submarines through the very crystal clear water, and although the submarines thought of course that they were totally invisible, they absolutely weren't. And he was telling me about those stories and also how cold he was, and at the same time he was watching this very same Swordfish display, and he looked up and said, "Oh boy, they're having fun."
690 horsepower Bristol Pegasus engine, 9 cylinders. The crew consisted of the pilot, the radio operator and the air gunner observer. Had a range, not very much actually, only about 475 nautical miles, or about 1,500 pounds of mine, or 1,500 pounds of bombs on the fuselage. It could also, amazingly for a fabric covered aircraft, fire 8 60-pound rockets that were under wing.
You can see Hugo waving away. So please put your arms in the air, ladies and gentlemen, and wave back. Like being dropped into a coal cellar while sitting in a tin bath. Now that's not very comfortable experience, especially for anyone who's kind of standing or trying to keep in that back
It's
back
just
seat.
imaginable to us these days what they actually went through. When you've seen photos of the Murmansk convoys, of the escort carriers pitching so steeply and rolling at the same time, and these guys were expected to take off, but more importantly, land back on those pitching and heaving decks. It certainly required a massive amount of skill and tenacity to be able to do that. Oftentimes, after combats where the aircraft was actually damaged as well.
And we'll talk a little bit later on about exactly how much a pilot can see forwards. And with that massive, great big radial engine at the front, it can't have been easy to make an approach, trying to see where you're going, get it right, the pitching and weaving of the aircraft, and get it down in time without falling off the side.
Importantly, can you imagine what it was like doing a low-level torpedo run? Attacked the German battleships Scharnhorst, Gneisenau and the Prince Eugen during the famous Channel Dash